player. Both the Wesson kids, Caleb Wesson and Andre Wesson, and forward and center. And they just have a ton of value here. They lost Jay Sean Tate and Keita Bates-Diop, right? Now, I think that they have some good recruits there, right? Luther Mohammed is probably going to start. He's a 4-star recruit. Well, there's a chance he will. And, I just see this team having a lot of value. They made the tournament last year. They're 25-9, shocking a lot of people. Their only crutch was Penn State, it seemed, last year. They had some big upsets. I think they beat Michigan and Michigan State last year. But with C.J. Jackson and the Wesson kids, just a little bit improvement. And if Mohammed stands out and Kyle Young does well, I think this team is a team to be on. So good news for the Buckeyes. They are 125-1 to win the tournament. This is another one I'm on the fence on. I might take that. I didn't yet, but I think that you're going to get a similar number most of the year. So to win the NCAA tournament and start hedging during the tournament. So love this team. I would not fault anyone that would take that 125-1 right now. Number 2 is not, well, number 1's not Michigan State. Number 2 is Michigan State. And I wonder if I'm too high on them. They're power rated at 12. They have 2 returning starters in Cassius Winston and Josh Langford at guard. Their key losses was Miles Bridges and Jaren Jackson. Normally you think that these are a reload type team, but I don't love the way they recruited this year. Their special players are Josh Langford, Cassius Winston, and Michael Bingham. But they are 15-18-2 against the spread last year. It wasn't a team that you're going to make money on. They're 30-5 last year. This team you could see them get lazy sometimes. They're at 35-1 to win the NCAA championship. It's way too high for me. Like I said, I think that maybe Michigan State should be behind Ohio State and possibly Nebraska here. This was their worst recruiting class that I can remember. Their top recruit ranked only 66th. Very not Michigan State-like. Tom Izzo is possibly the greatest coach in the Big Ten. I put him, him and Jim Boeheim's amazing too, right? But I just don't like what they return and what they recruited this year. So this is probably a fade team for me coming in with no value. And at number 1 overall, we have Indiana, power rated at 19 with 3 returning stars. I got to tell you, Archie Miller, since he came from Dayton, has done a fantastic job here bringing this old school powerhouse back to relevancy. They returned Justin Smith at small forward, Deron Davis at power forward, and Juwan Morgan. Okay. If you remember, Deron Davis was injured last year, and it was a big hit to them. But now that he's back from his ACL injury history, this front court looks badass. He had his best recruiting class that I've seen. 1 5-star and 4 4-star recruits. This team could be amazing this year, and this team could be amazing the next 2 years. I have them number 1, like I said, in my power ratings. They were good against the spread last year, 18-13. Their record was 16-15. Like I said, they got hurt. Justin Smith is a special player returning. Deron Davis and Romeo Langford's a special player. He's that top 5 recruit in the nation, Langford. He's going to be starting right away or rotating in a lot. Their key losses were Robert Johnson and Josh Newkirk. But I think with those guys returning and some of their returning production there, they're absolutely going to be fine. They had some good bench players last year too. Devontae Green, Justin Smith returning. This team is poised to easily make the NCAA tournament and possibly go farther. I think it's going to ride a little bit on how well this 5-star recruit does this year. He's expected to produce immediately, Romeo Langford. And then they also have a bunch of 4-star recruits with Jerome Hunter, Damazi Anderson, Robert Finnisi. This team is poised to make a huge run this year, and I think they are the best in the Big Ten right now anyway. So I'm going to be on them from an against the spread basis, and I'm going to be on them for a futures basis as well. I'm taking the 50-1 because I don't know if it gets any better than that. They might just start running right away and kind of move down to 20-1. I don't know. They do have a hard schedule, though. If you want to wait till their Duke game in December, maybe wait till that and see if you can get better odds. But they play Duke, Marquette, and Louisville, so they have a medium hard schedule. And I still love how they were 18-13 against the spread. So Indiana is my number one team. Let's move on to the Big 12. All right, we are back to preview the Big 12 basketball with our Big 12 specialist, Mr. Eddie Owens. Finally, Eddie, basketball is back. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm so happy college basketball is back. Even though college football is still going on and it's getting really interesting, college basketball is definitely my favorite, and I couldn't be more excited.
Oh, for sure, my man. What a great start it's been. And, we're recording this a bit early. We're going to have this probably released in a few days, but already 3-0 here at the Odds Breakers. Eddie killed it today as well. And I love having good starts. So real excited about that. I don't know how the hell you have Syracuse playing a Towson in the over-unders 137. It's like, what the hell are you thinking? Syracuse plays slow as it is. And Virginia, their over-unders at 130 and a half. I'm like, for a Virginia team playing a tomato can, what the hell? It's like, I obviously you don't have any data from this year, but the damn team, and then you look at the returning starters, and you're like, there's no way these totals getting up that high for the pace these teams play. God, these teams barely scored 100 freaking points today, and Ball State just rolled as well. So pretty happy today. Pretty good day so far. So excited about how that started out, man. But let's get into the Big 12. First question, are there any head coaching changes?
There's not any Big 12 head coaching changes this year. It's kind of similar to the football side of it. It's the same old crew, with Baylor having Scott Drew, Kansas having Bill Self, West Virginia having Bob Huggins, and Texas having Shaka Smart. And Bruce Weber came back to Kansas State as well. So it's just the usual foes, and no Big 12 coaching changes this year.
The usual suspects, my man. Well, holy smokes. It's funny because the Big Ten's the same exact way. I don't think I've ever seen both these conferences not switch out a head coach or two. But it's really cool. It's almost like you can see some sticking ability, right? People aren't so quick to fire basketball coaches, not nearly as much as football anyway. So
I'm about to say football, you get a couple years. In basketball, I think, you get time to settle down. But football, they're quick with it. They're too quick with it.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Oh, man. So that's cool. No coaching changes. So no different handicaps there. You can kind of go by what you know about these coaches, their style of play, their pace. Everything's going to kind of line up nicely from like what it was last year. So that's kind of, it's probably easier for the odds makers too. Don't get me wrong. It's not like we're finding some huge edge here. It might even be more of a disadvantage for us, but less research, I guess. So how do you rank these Big 12 teams? I mean, tell me you're starting with Kansas number one, right?
Yeah. You have to start with Kansas number one. And they're just coming off a big win against Michigan State tonight as we're recording this, which was a huge win to start off their season, as Michigan State was ranked, 12, 13?
Yeah, they were up there for sure. They returned.
And they'll be a good team still.
They will. They'll be the Michigan State Spartans, right? It'll be a kind of a regular season up and downs, and all of a sudden tournament time, you don't want to bet against them. So that's just Tom Izzo.
Yeah, I really have. Yeah, like with Kansas this year, I feel like they're really ahead of the pack. They're returning Azubuike and also their strong forward, LeGerald Vick, who I'm sure a lot of people remember both of them from last year. But also, they have a couple grad transfers that came in. They had Dedrick and KJ Lawson, both forwards that transferred in from Memphis. So they did really well tonight. But I think they'll play a huge impact on the team this year. And also a point guard that transferred from Cal, Charlie Moore, he'll do real well this year, fitting into that offense as well. So they just reloaded, honestly.
Well, yeah, the recruiting class, they got number 7 overall, Quentin Grimes.
Oh yeah, Grimes. Oh, man, he did great tonight too. He was a lot of fun to watch. I was wondering what the big hype about him was, but I see why he's a star freshman.
Yeah, Devin Dodson. I mean, obviously the Kansas 5-star and 4-star all the way, right? And then because they lost Malik Newman, and we saw how good he was in the tournament last year, and Devontae Graham, that's been there forever. So they still got Azubuike, that big giant swatting those balls out there in the center, dunking all over everyone. And that guy, man, if he's not in foul trouble, Kansas is usually winning the game. It's just how it is. So real excited to watch Kansas this year. They deserve their preseason ranking, number 1 in most polls. So we'll keep an eye on them. Who do you got next?
The second I got, it really was a toss-up between West Virginia and Kansas State, but I'm going to have to go with the Kansas State Wildcats. They're returning all 5 of their starters from last year. Dean Wade, Barry Brown, Xavier Sneed, and Stokes. They're all going to have a great season. I don't think they'll catch as many teams by surprise like they did last year. But I think with this team and this leadership, with them coming back, I think that they'll definitely make a huge statement in Big 12 this year.
Yeah, man, they made it all the way up to the Elite 8, right, last year, I think. And I think it was Loyola that took them out, and it was a close game, right?
Yeah. It was definitely... What was it? The Sweet 16, I believe.
Yeah, they made it farther than that. They beat Kentucky.
Elite 8.
Yeah, they shot Kentucky, and then at some point, and then I think it was in the Elite 8, they lost to Loyola, and Loyola went to the Final Four and faced Michigan in the bottom. So
yeah, and I was at that championship last year too, the national championship in San Antonio,
which is awesome.
But with Kansas State, I mean you. With you coming back with that much leadership and that many guys that have played together for that long, I mean, that has to factor into something. And like I said, they're ballers, man. I don't think they'll, compete with Kansas, but they could. I hope they do. But so we'll have to see.
Well, I got to relook at what their future was. The futures aren't listed right now because there's basketball playing. I thought it was like 75-1 or something like that, or maybe it's 50-1, but anything over 50-1 is not a bad shot on Kansas State because you can absolutely hedge out of that one. So, loving their return. I love Sneed there. What a beast he was last year. Holy smokes! So that makes West Virginia at number 3.
Yeah, definitely West Virginia coming in at 3. With Bob Huggins, they're going to have that same press Virginia defense. They are losing Javon Carter and Daxter Miles, but they're also getting back the shot blocker down low, Kanate. So that'll be a lot of fun to watch as well. I remember last year he would straight just swat balls out of the air and grab it out of the air like he was playing volleyball almost. So definitely have West Virginia at 3.
Yeah, I hate the Carter loss. That guy was such a leader. That's
why I put West Virginia at 3 just because the loss of Javon Carter and Dexter Miles. You know, they played together for so long, so that's why I put Kansas State at 2.
But you can't keep Huggy Bear down though, right? It's
no, you can't. You